Well, here I am.
Yeah.
About to be rocked like a hurricane from the words of Herman German, Herman Rarebell.
Well, Herman Rarebell, and in England, the name Herman Rarebell, that's how it started. And after saying it 100 times, finally, I accepted Rarebell. And Herman's a German. You guys gave me that name back in 77, yeah.
Excellent, it's good to you here, and we're here today to talk about, you've got a concert planned.
Yeah.
Next April, Friday the 12th.
Yeah.
It's called Drum Legends. Yourself, you're a legend yourself. Pete York and Ginger Baker.
Yeah.
So tell us more about that concert.
Well, first of all, the basic idea is that we play songs from our past. Mm-hmm. So we each going to perform about 30 minutes. And when we play songs from our past, I can tell you, for example, the songs I'm going to play, obviously, Rock Like a Hurricane, Blackout, Another Piece of Meat, Passion Rules the Game, Make It Real. So we're going to concentrate on the songs I wrote for the Scorpions, excellent, obviously. Yeah. I know from Ginger he's going to play Sunshine of Your Love, White Room Toad, and it took me 4 years to talk him into play Queen songs. As you know, he didn't want this for a long time, but now he understands the message I would like to bring across. And Pete, of course, is going to play Keep On Running, I'm a Man, and Gimme Some Lovin. So we play our classic rock hits from the past, which would literally have 60s, 70s, 80s. Then, of course, we open the show with playing against and with each other, like a kind of a rhythmical drum battle. And then I will continue with my Scorpion songs. Ginger will come out and play his stuff. Pete will come out. And we plan to end the thing with Sunshine of Your Love. With 3 drummers. Yeah. And then if the people want encores, then all the 3 bands would come out, and then we can choose from You Really Got Me to Purple Haze, nearly everything we like to play.
How did it all come together? Because I know, like Pete York, he's like one of your heroes, and when you first started drumming yourself.
Yeah.
So he's a personal friend of yours over the years?
Very, very good friend of mine. He lives in Germany, not far from my house in Munich. I have another place, as you know, in Brighton. But Pete married a German woman, Maggie. And so we became friends over the year. I did the Drum Legends already with Pete in 2006. Yeah. You can see it on YouTube. And the 3rd drummer then was a guy called Charlie Antolini. Yeah. Now, Charlie Antolini is a guy like Buddy Rich. I mean, a killing machine, technical wonder. But he wasn't a team player. So in the end, Pete and the other musicians said, look, you can't choose between Charlie or all of us. So I said, well, I will tell Charlie. So I told Charlie, listen, it's not working because my band is really pissed off about you. All the musicians hear your complaints. You cannot say to the rock musicians, you go to live with 3 chords and the guy plays in the biggest band in Germany.
And tell us more about Ginger Baker. Notoriously not the easiest person to pin down and get him to do what...
That I can only tell you after we do a tour, and at this moment there is no tour plan. We will see now how this thing in Brighton goes. If it goes the way I think it will go, and the ticket sales speak for that, then we have a sold-out show there, and I think it could be a unique, once-a-lifetime show, because it will be a history show, because number one, as we all know, we don't know how Mr. Baker will continue.
Well, so here's a one-off gig, so is there plans to film it?
Yes, it will be filmed, and if this thing goes well, there's already people now asking us for touring. So that we have to see. I have to talk to Ginger, obviously, how good is your health? Will you be able to do a 3-month tour? And if not, then there would be different possibilities, then we would have to use different drummers for different countries. Yeah. Let's say America, there's a candidate, there's another English candidate, I cannot tell you the name, all I can say you're huge, really, really big. Excellent. But you saw the show, The Art of Drumming, and you saw already Ringo in there, and Charlie Woods, and Ginger, and I'm very happy to say Ginger had 1,300,000 clicks. Means he has a lot of drum fans out there. Yeah. And in the show I just did, the Johnny Walker Rock Gods, they asked me, what are your 2 rock gods? And obviously being a drummer, I said Keith Moon and John Bonham, and I said the reasons exactly why. And it's too bad those 2 are not alive, because then I would play with my 3 heroes I grew up with. But one of them is still alive, which is Wonder, but he's arrived as well, probably will. Probably when we are all 90, he will be 110 and say, what are you talking about? But when we met 2 months ago, he seemed to me in good spirit, in good shape, and I think at his age now, for all of us, it's the perfect thing that we only have to perform 30 minutes. That means we really can give the full energy. and then do a great opening and a great finale. And I think if you want to see some really great drumming, you should come to that show. And I can promise you that for sure. You know.
I'm not saying it's drum legends, but the house band has got some good names in it. Bernie Marston, I believe.
Yes.
Whitesnake.
I know, and I had the same choice. I could also take some named people, but I said already to the other two, in this show, I feel the drummers are the stars, and the drummers sit up front, and the band is behind us. That's how we...
Just like it was in the 60s.
See? And, but then, then also Proudest, you know, and then the band was left and right. But with us, we will sit in the front, and we use the Proudest to build those three bands behind us, and we can hear over the monitor systems. That's the idea here. So I could have had, of course, named guitar players. I learned in my life, I played with, I think, probably the best of the league there, starting with Michael Schenker and Uli John Boss, and Rudolf Schenker and all those guys. But I said to myself, also John Parr is a long-time friend of mine, we did Acoustic Fever. If I take any of those stars in this show, they will take the attention away from the drummers. I have no problem with Bernie Marston, that is just one guitar player there with Ginger, but in my band, it will be my band, and they play my songs the way I want to hear them. And I don't want to have a guitar player. I thought I'd make out of Rocky Like a Hurricane a Hendrix version. I go, yeah? No, you won't.
And looks like the concert's taking place at the Brighton Dome. I thought you mentioned that you live in Brighton. Which is surprising.
10 years now.
Yeah, 10 years. So you're from Germany, and Uli John Roth's from Germany, but he lives here in Britain as well.
I'll tell you.
But what's so great about Brighton that you love so much that you can choose anywhere to live in the world?
Look, I did. I came in 2000, as you know, in the beginning, before I joined the Scorpions, I came here to look for the next super band or play drums for any of the super bands. Of course, none of that happened. But anyway, I ended up in '77 after a recommended audition from Michael Schenker. I ended up being the drummer of the Scorpions. And you know my career from now. And Brighton in 2008, I went back to my apartment I lived in Notting Hill before, in 1977 and 76 for £60 a week. Yeah, 3-1.
You won't get that now.
1.5 million I wanted for the apartment to sell. So then my friend at the time, he said, I drive you down to Brighton now. I think you like the seaside. It's really, and all the old hippies from back then, they're still there. You think you go back 30 years. And it was exactly this. Brighton is like Carnaby Street 69. So walking down there, and the apartments, everything had still the normal price. And I found an apartment right on the seaside, so I can see the sea every morning, have the fresh air. So that's determined, this is the place to retire. This is what I planned. And then in 2010, one morning I walk on the beach and there's a guy walking towards me, and I said, it looks like Michael. What's Michael? Instead of saying, hi there Herman, nice to meet you, what are you doing here? And I said, I live right here. And he says, well, I live here. Living there for 2 years, don't know anything about each other, and my studio is right across where I live. I go under the street and then I'm on the beach, and the studio is built into the cliffs. It's called Studio 284. Now they closed it because of the danger from the thing. So this is what you do. Yeah, nothing. Just like in the old days, like the two kids. Let's go play. So we start playing. A year later, we have Temple of Rock with Pete Ray on bass.
Who also lives in Brighton.
What?
He lives in Brighton, I believe, or nearby.
No. Pete, since when? No, in Christchurch.
Oh, Christchurch.
Yeah, that's
the coast,
I've been to see him. But anyway, he comes down and we rehearse, and everything sounded good. But then he tells me and Michael that he stopped drinking, Pete, and doing all this. So then, after 3-4 songs, second rehearsal, he goes upstairs. And he thinks he can fool me and Michael. Michael looks at me after the third song, no word, takes the guitar. See you guys tomorrow. Why did you do that? I said, go and have a look at the mirror. What's running out of your nose? And I seen 5 Jägermeister upstairs. Come on, you can't do this with us. Right? But you know. So then Michael said, we have to do something. Phone Francis, you know, being a bass player. Anyway, he stayed at my house. It was the story, you know. And so in the morning, after we had the dinner, I come, the whole pizza is all over the place, all the empty booze. And I think he is awake at 6, 7 in the morning. He didn't sleep. He did nothing, you know, just drunk there, you know, and it was unbelievable, you know. I love Pete, you know, but this is, you can't work with him. Pete, I love you, but I don't think we can change you.
Well, Pete's on slowly on the man. He's got a solo album coming out soon.
Yeah, I played on it. I played 7 songs on it.
Oh, wow.
Maybe he erased them all by now. It was 8
And
years ago.
he did play a gig on Saturday, actually, a low-key gig in Bournemouth.
Where?
In Bournemouth. It's a very low-key gig with Clive Edmonds and
as soon as he plays again, you phone me, you know. He hasn't paid me a penny for my 7 songs. As soon as I got the advance from the record label, I'll pay you everything.
I'll pay you everything.
He knows exactly.
Anyway, let's move on. You know,
I'm not drinking anymore.
Let's talk about your career with the Scorpions.
Yeah.
You just mentioned that a lot of people might not realise this, but it was here in England where you randomly bumped into Michael Schenker at the Ship in Wardour Street.
You know that?
Yeah, yes. And
then the friendship began in '75, and the beginning of '77. Michael said to me, "My brother is coming. They play at the Marquee Club down the road, Wardour Street. Why don't you go there and check them out? They're looking for a drummer. I think you have a good chance to go and audition for them." So I said, okay. So I went to the Marquee Club, and the night before I met Rudolph and Michael at the Speakeasy. So we started to talk, and we had the same heroes, that Zeppelin, so we wanted to be like them, you know. So anyway, the next day they played also at the Sound Circus in Holborn, you remember? So there I go there. What he didn't tell me is now there are 50 drummers there, you know. And Woody says, okay, we're going to play 3 songs with each of you, and then we let you know. Don't phone us, we phone you. Yeah. Then I played 3 songs. I was one of the few who played the 3 songs, and then they said, don't phone us, we phone you. The next day they phoned me and I said, we'd like to come and collect your drums. We think you're the perfect drummer for us. So I said, you have work, then I can come. And I said to my girlfriend, I'm going to go back to Germany now. And she said, oh, are you crazy? Anyway, a week later, was May, I was at the wedding from Klaus Meiner. And then they got me a room in a house under the ceiling. It was already really hot in May. And there was just one room, also like £60 a month, that kind of thing. 2 toilets in the back and 8 people stay on the same floor. Do I have to tell you more?
So the first album you made with Scorpions was Taken by Force.
Taken by Force, yeah.
The last album to feature Uli John Roth.
Yeah.
And your first writing credit with the band was...
He's a Woman.
He's a Woman, She's a Man, yeah. And on a following album, you wrote a song, Don't Make No Promises Your Body Can't Teach.
Yeah.
So, Keep, sorry. So are these from personal experiences?
All my songs are personal experiences. When people ask me, what gave you the idea for Rocky Like a Hurricane? I said, listen, it's early morning and the sun comes out. Last night was shaking and pretty loud. What is there more to explain? It's rock and roll life in the 80s. We talked about it. It was the best. We had the best time in our lives. Look at the poor kids now. Can't do nothing, really, you know. And the bands also, nobody signs them anymore.
It's true what you're just saying, actually, because a lot of your lyrics were about, you know, what men do, sex, basically.
My lyrics were
But
always
these days you get ridiculed for that, you know.
I did nothing else in the 80s, and I stand to this. I say, I was a young man. I took the opportunity. I was on stage every night. I didn't have to go to the bar and talk to a girl till the next day. I would just go to the concert, you know. This is like you're on the presentation table, you know. Hello, I'm here. And I was always honest, okay? I never said, I love you and you have to marry me tomorrow. I said, tomorrow morning at 8, my tour manager comes, I have to leave. And they all said, okay, let's have a good night. My husband comes back at 10. So it was not a problem. Nobody had to pretend things which are called white lies, nothing, you know. So the 80s for me were wonderful. We could screw without a condom. We could take, all the drugs were still clean, you know, and not stretched with God knows what, you know. For me, it was the best time of my life, the golden years, and I had that with the Scorpions from 77 to 96, 19 and a half years, 20 years long.
Also, because it was a whirlwind of success, you know, there's Animal Magnetism, Love Drive, Blackout.
I wrote the most lyrics in all those albums. You want to read the name Rarebell in every song. And this was the thing then. My life was on the road, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, that's what I lived. And Klaus wrote very romantic ballads, so it was perfect. So we had Wind of Change, we had Still Loving You, and we had the hard rock stuff.
We'll talk about those albums in a minute. Let's talk about Love Drive, because Udi left, Michael came in and helped out. And Michael Schenker himself, previous on his latest tour, he's sort of been sort of bad-mouthing Rudolph in many ways.
Totally.
Saying he didn't get enough deserved credit for that album.
Well, listen, I said that to Michael, now I say it in public. I was there on the Love Drive album Michael played on my song Another Piece of Meat, as you all know, a fantastic lead solo. He also created songs like Coast to Coast. He played also guitar on Loving You Sunday Morning. He's on Love Drive, and all those songs is Michael Schenker playing. So I think he got his 6th share on the album sales. Because we didn't split it 5 ways, we split it 6 ways plus the producer, and I have the proof he got every penny. So you cannot say that didn't pay me my share. The Scorpions did pay the share, and I
think what Michael was annoyed about was more the re-releases, so he's not mentioned on the re-release.
Yes, he's true. Now the thing is, in the publishing at the time, Michael and Rudolph said to each other, okay. Woody said to Michael, this is, of course, you wrote Coast to Coast, but I give you you're part of the publishing, in other words, half of that song. And for some reason he never did. And he worked it against his studio cost, which he says was as high as the income from this. That I don't know. I know one thing, all the money which had to be paid from him, from the Scorpions Limited Company has been paid. I have the proof in the bookkeeping. What he does with his brother is his brother, okay? If he cannot get clear with your brother, then I cannot help anymore.
Yeah.
I try to bring them back together, but you don't mouse people bad from either side. They're both great guitar players, and I see now they influence millions of people, especially Michael, and I am always clear with them. We look in the eye and say, this is how it is. If you play a song with me, then you're my brother and I share it with you. If his own brother doesn't do this, then beyond me.
Yeah. Moving on to the Blackout album. Highly successful album.
That was the first platinum,
And
in America.
It's a very heavy album. You know, I was mentioning this to someone recently. I was talking about Judas Priest, who always get called the Godfathers of heavy metal kind of thing. But if you played the album Screaming for Vengeance, which was the big breakthrough album for Judas Priest in America, next to Blackout is far the heaviest album.
You should come to some of the rehearsals. We can play really heavy. We can play as heavy as Rammstein. I'm not kidding.
Do you think the Scorpions get the credit they deserve in terms of heavy metal?
Very good questions. Why are we not in the Hall of Fame, you know? I have American friends who think it is political, because being German, you know, and the people who run that are Jewish, you know, that could be one reason. I don't mean this bad, or racism. That's also the reason why we never got an award in Hollywood. Because the people who run this also is the same thing.
Yeah.
But then again, Dieter Dirks, our producer, is Jewish. Marvin Katz, David Krebs are all Jewish. They should be also in the position to produce that. I don't know.
Interesting you mentioned that, actually, because it's quite a touchy subject. But, you know, in the 80s, it's not that long after the war. Did you realise what great ambassadors you were for Germany? Because you were like the most famous, except for, say, sportsmen like Franz Beckenbauer or Gerd Müller. You were the most famous people to come out of Germany.
310 million wind of change. Wind of change.
Yeah.
Hello. These people didn't come from 1990 onwards to no rock shows anymore. You know, they said they're playing Schlager. Schlager in Germany is worse than Humtata music. So then, from 94 onwards, those people came back when we did the heavy album again. But before, they thought we sold out, you know.
And talking of Blackout, the album Love at First Sting, another massive album.
Love it.
But obviously the tour with the Blackout, there were times you had like cocaine addiction, alcohol addiction. You weren't involved in the original sessions on Love at First Sting, but you did go in and
No, what happened was when I was in Sweden, I said, listen, I have to take a break, so I got Rondinelli in, Dieter Dirks, the producer. So he drummed the whole album, and then Dieter phoned me up in Italy. He said, I can't use any of this, you have to fly out now, I don't care how you feel, you have to drum everything, because the difference in the style is too huge. It is different drumming, so you have to come. So I've drummed the whole album again, you know. I have the original tapes also with Rondinelli.
Okay.
So because he said in some interviews that he drummed it, I have the tapes where he drummed, and I have the album You Have a New Wardrobe.
Of course, you wrote the song Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Yes.
Massive song.
Yeah.
It's all simplicity, but it's a great song.
Listen, the song is...
It's taken a life of its own.
My English was good enough to transform my feeling for the time being in the middle of the 80s, you know.
Do you think that's something that's lacking today? That people have forgotten the art of writing a good, catchy song?
I don't know. I mean, if I go Akula catchy, go in the stadium, you know. Two people, him and his sister, right?
I'll say it's a massive chorus, you know, when you perform it live. What's it like when you perform it live and you hear everybody screaming it back at you?
But here, fuck you like sorry, that was the original lyrics. The record company then didn't think that was funny, because then the word fuck, you know, was something, whoa, beep. And now, listen to the rappers, it would be just beep, 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 beep.
And I must talk about some memorable concerts from that tour. Because that tour was captured on a Worldwide Live.
Yeah.
But you played Rock in Rio.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Amazing. We played just 2 shows. The first show was on the 5th of January and the next one on the 19th. 2 weeks free, and we stayed at the Copacabana Hotel directly. With us was the party, all the party people, and there was the family hotel where people from AC/DC and from all the other bands.
There's all the other bands, Queen, Rod Stewart.
With their wives, and we were with the party. I went out every night around 12, midnight, 1 o'clock, and all the discotheques, they were waiting there, you know, and we partied till 5 in the morning. Then everybody went back to the suites, and the party continued next day midday, go downstairs, swim, eat something, party till the night, next 2 weeks long till we finally did this gig. I played one of my best drum solos on that thing.
Yeah.
You saw it when I'm up in the air.
Yeah.
400,000 people, it was simply mind-blowing, you know.
Amazing. Of course, Scott was infamous for the pyramid. Whose idea was that?
Well, I was on the bottom. I didn't think I didn't think that was such an amazing show idea. I was the one down there. Fucking hell. Good night, get the fuck down, you know. Okay, good effect, you must say. You know? And they also think, you know, they sent me up on my UFO about 10 yards in the air. You remember?
Drums come up, yeah.
And in Las Vegas, the city of all shows, that fucker stopped, you know, wouldn't come down anymore. I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking of the, yeah, thank you, mother, Las Vegas, yeah. We played. The thing wouldn't go down anymore. It is like when you take cars up, it's the same thing. Yeah, it wasn't funny for me, okay?
The one show I caught you on that tour was a legendary show, and still folklore in England, everybody still talks about it. It was Return of the Never Fair. It was Deep Purple headlining, Scorpions were special guests. And it poured down with rain that day, but when you came on, you were just red hot. Yeah. You know, the rain just seemed to disappear. We didn't notice it. You were so good that day.
When we went on, you know, we wanted to give our best always, and we were known that we played live the same than the records, you know. And we never ever did a playback show, you know. Klaus would simply refuse this. I don't know if he still does that now, but then it was record, go on stage and perform live.
I think what's something else that Scorpions don't really get the adoration for is. The Scorpions knew, it wasn't you on the drum kit, but the rest of the band knew how to use the stage. They used up every inch of the stage. They're very choreographed, over here, then over there. Amazing.
When we had John Bongiovi, and me and Rudolph, we found him in China Club in 1984, beginning of the year. And Doc McGee then said to me and Rudolph, you should take this band out, which we did. 4 months they were opening out. And Doc said to the band, you go out on the side of the stage, watch the Scorpions, what they do, copy it. Doc McGee, and he doesn't make everybody he tells us the same thing, can confirm it. And this is what they did. They were out every night, but I went out also when they played, and I saw John Bongiovi was for me like the Brad Pitt of the show business. The first 4 rows and every auditorium were woman.
Yeah, of course.
John Bongiovi.
Which you were complaining about.
No, I didn't complain at all. But I mean, Johnny, I could tell. Yeah. And then after that tour, they went to Vancouver to record with Bruce Fairbairn as a producer. Passed away, as you know. Do
you feel like the Scorpions lost their sound a bit? Because, like say, 85 was Love at First Sting, and then it was the hair metal scene, and you got matched by Doc McGee, there's Motley Crue, Bongiovi. But you sort of thrown in the hair metal scene a bit, and you sort of lost your way. Would you agree with that?
What happened was, when we played the Moscow Music Peace Festival in 1989, then John Bongiovi was on that day headliner, because he just had this album which sold 60 million copies in America, and he was weeks and weeks #1. You can go if you want somewhere else. And when we were in Russia, I said to him, if you want, you play the special guest here and we do the headliner. Because when we were the special guest, when we finished our set, you can see it on film, from the 135,000 people, half of them left the stadium. The stadium was half empty then. But then he didn't want to listen, and until this day, Scorpions is the biggest act in Russia when it comes to hard rock and all this.
You like the second band to go out there? Because I think you were meant to go out there in '88. You were going to be the second band.
No, we did. We did the year before. We were the first band ever to play there, and then we came there and we were supposed to play 5 nights in Leningrad and 5 nights in Moscow. And it was the last week before the 1st of May parade, the day of work. There, most important for Stalin and all those guys. Lenin. So they said, we think it's extremely dangerous to have a rock band play on the 1st of May, and it could lead to revolution. How wise they were. A year later, after we did the Moscow Music Peace Festival, we were walking to the first McDonald's in Moscow, or no, Hard Rock. Amazing, and we eat there, and then...
It's Hard Rock Cafe.
Hard Rock Cafe, exactly. So we eaten there, and we walked to Gorky Park, and then Klaus went home. I bought him a Yamaha DX7 in Japan for a birthday present. And he says, what do you think of this? Do you have a lyric idea for the melody goes... I said, why are you crazy? No lyrics, leave the whistling. No, we need to say something. You know? So a few days later, he plays the song to the whole band, and they go, and? Luda says, this, I compose now for 30 years. It takes a long time to compose a good song. You have to have A, B, C parts, you know. This is missing there, and it sounds like a schlager, you know, come on. And I said, this could be big voltage, it's very commercial. Go to the record company. Mr. Jung, the president from EMI, says to me, you have to take the whistling off. I go, what happened to your ears? He appears to be the president of the company. And as you know, the song was the biggest hit the Scorpions had with the whistling.
Did it surprise you? It did come such a massive hit. It's an important song. I think people here in England sort of ridicule it a little bit, but don't realise how important it was in Europe. You know, because the
England was number 2,
it was.
And then, because Bryan Adams, and I told him this the rest of his life, he kept us away with the song "Everything I Do for You." Robin Hood movie.
Yeah, it was number 1 for 17 weeks.
I know exactly. Because otherwise it would have been us. And but the song became number 1 in over 20 countries around the world. And the difference was, for example, you played. Olympia Hall in Munich, 11,000 people, 3 days sold out instead of 1. But audience is 70% woman who sit there the whole show like this. And then in the middle of the show we played Still Loving You and Wind of Change. Then all the females got up and left. So I said to Woody, hey, let's play these 2 songs right on the end. So then the last song was Wind of Change and Still Loving You, and then I had to stay. But they only came once. Only once. Too loud. They thought we played 2-hour songs like A Wind of Change, you know. But, you know, this kept all the hard rock fans away. And now, since they're saying, yes, we're doing our final tour in the last 10 years, then people come back again.
Also, you left in, was it 93?
No, 96.
96.
96 in May also, on the 18th of May.
That's the Face the Heat when the album time Face the Heat
No,
album.
yeah, Face the Heat was finished, and then there were promotion activities, and we did also a tour, the '94 tour. Everything was finished, and my last concert was Taratata.
And why did you decide to call it a day?
Because I saw. After 20 years, I felt already in the 90s when grunge came out, Nirvana, and the record company said to us, why don't you guys do an album like this? So we did Face the Heat, and the first single on the Face the Heat was Alienation. Now you must imagine, you have a song like Wind of Change before, being averted on all the radio stations. I had this calls from those DJs who are my friends like this today. Why you do this? I can't play this. It's impossible for me to play this song. My director here won't let me. I'm really heavy alienation, you know. And the whole world was waiting for another Wind of Change. If we would have done this, what I said, then we would have probably sold twice as many, because then we would give them what they wanted. Queen knew this from day one. No, and then we came to Bruce, said, what do you want to do? Then everybody said, no, we must do a hard rock album. And then I was not involved in the writing anymore. After Wind of Change, Klaus suddenly thought he's going to write everything. So I said, fine, go ahead. So then I said, since you guys don't need me anymore, then it's time for me to do something else. And I was living in Monte Carlo, and Prince Albert keeps saying to me, come on, we make a record company. I said, yeah, it's not going to get any bigger. The stadiums are not going to get any bigger either. You played all the stadiums, you played all the big halls, you had hits without end, you wrote half the songs. Why, fuck it, you know. So that's why I left. I think the most important thing for me is friendship and partnership. And when you have a successful life, like with the Scorpions, where you have only hits, and then two partners tell you, from the next album we do everything ourselves, only because of greed, how greedy can you become? No. And that's the reason.
I mean, I think like people saying the autobiography, obviously being successful and touring the world does damage your sort of your domestic life, your marriage life, and
that's
the
not
family.
what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you, between your own comrades, don't want to share in the end when you're really successful, then there's something wrong with you inside. That is what I'm saying.
Okay. So you carried on. It's like recently you've been working with Michael Schenker.
I know, but Michael is my friend, and then I was retired. Don't forget, in 2008 I was 60 years old, and I said to myself, Brighton, wonderful place, you see the sea, and it was him. Come on, you can't retire, let's go out and play, we have fun, only one tour, 3 world tours, we sold out everywhere, especially in Japan. With the Scorpions, Sun Plaza hold 2 nights, we 3 nights. Not only 1 year, 3 years, yeah, that's true.
You've always been working with a band called Rock Wolves,
yes, of course.
Michael False. So tell us more about them.
The band got signed by SPV, which is a very successful hard rock label in Germany. They came out with the first single, which was a very commercial single, you know, Rock for the Ladies. I made it especially for commercial stations. He sent that single to all the classic rock stations. I said, they won't play, this is for them too soft. You have to send it to the people like BBC One or BBC Two, the people who listen to normal hits. Then they're going to say, oh, who's this? Nice. No. So after 3 months, he says to me, we have not enough record sales. We don't want to make the next single and the next album. I said, fine.
So you're a songwriter. Do you ever get asked by other artists to write for them?
Yeah. And I did some little things, you know, but little bands, you know, not the big sellers, you know. The problem is when you have a big seller, you know, let's say, for example, Madonna, or you have like Tina Turner, they have, or Rod Stewart, they have all their writers. You don't get in there, no matter how good your song is. There's a small clique of 4 or 5 people, and they keep that money for themselves. Because if you have a hit with any of those people, let's say Madonna or with Tina, you make more money with one song and publishing than with Scorpions, all the songs. That's the difference if you have hit after hit after hit. If you have 1 hit only or 2.
What's been your proudest moment in your career?
The furthest, I think...
No, proudest.
The proudest, when I went to the Kremlin and shook hands with President Gorbachev, and both were in our video, President Reagan and him, and I feel that we were responsible for the wall. You can see it in the video when the wall is coming down, this wind of change runs in there, and you see people from Hungary coming over to Germany, to the West. They had enough of communism, they wanted to be like us, and we were responsible for this, we feel it. When we played 88 and 89 in that big stadium, in the middle were about 800 soldiers to keep the people apart, and in the film you can see they're throwing their hats in the air, they sing along to Rock You Like a Hurricane Placard, you know all the lyrics, Russians. And when you see soldiers doing this, then you know over. And I said it after the concert, I said, I think the day of communism are gone, and a year later, the whole system broke down.
I think it's very true what you're saying, actually, because it is the power of music. It was MTV that played a big part of that, they played the songs and played everybody else's songs. Of course, people from both sides of the fence watching music.
And now look, after this is 30 years, this year, 2019, I feel we go 60 years back. In the Cold War, you know, there's hardly anybody from Europe or from your country speaking to the Russians anymore. And America has become a disaster, you know, run by an idiot, you know, how can you? And this is supposed to be a guy I can trust. This guy can push the button tomorrow morning, you know. This is our new world, crazy world. We had the title in '91, and it was crazy then, but now it's completely out of bananas, you know. Maybe I have to pay Nick my mix to the tax when I come to England. Somebody stays there. You phone. Oh yeah, here. How much?
Well, Herman, it's been fantastic talking to you. I can sit here and talk all day, and no doubt we will carry on talking after this.
I give you my book. It's probably ready at 2 months from now.
Well, there is a book. I'll show for people out there who don't know about your book, we got it here.
Yeah, no, but we made a hurricane edition of it, which is twice as thick as this, okay? And there is some more stories in there from David Krebs and Dieter Dirks. Also some additional information which happened since that time, you know. Nobody knew then what happened to vocals or to drum lessons. All this has been added in the new book, which I will give you. But I'm glad you have this one. Yeah, this one done very well. I was with this one in the Amazon charts of Platz 9. Before me was Steven Tyler and Ozzy Osbourne, and number 1 was Justin Bieber. With 19 years. Yeah, with 19 years. So I'm thinking, you write the autobiography after 50 years and me after 5 years. Not bad, huh?
I was great talking to you, and a reminder of that concert, Brighton Dome, 12th of April.
Yeah.
With yourself, Pete York and Ginger
Baker, of course, yeah.
It'll be fantastic.
Don't miss it.
Yeah, come down for it.
It'll be good fun.
Excellent. All the best for the future. Thank you.
It could be possible even that you see a surprise guitar player playing that night with me. I can't say any names.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Okay, that was easy. Easy quiz.